I signed him and we worked. We got in and worked for like a year. He did some stuff on the Yoga album with us. We did a bunch of stuff for placements and shit. But honestly, it was at a time musically to where artists just weren't open to different kinds of music. Now I feel like artists want to hear future shit. Not the rapper, but just future sounding shit. They want to hear space sounds.
Internally, we have some issues too, and here's what I don't understand. Hip-hop production since breakbeats have been sample-based, yet I noticed that when you went public about your situation with the Live Love ASAP project, it seemed as though you were getting attacked by fellow producers who didn't feel that you deserved money simply because those beats were sample based. My first major placement was with Jeezy back in 2008, and that was sample based, and you can bet I got paid in advance. A 4-figure advance. Every subsequent sample based beat I sold also came with an advance, sometimes a 5-figure advance even. Why do you think there's still such a stigma associated with sampling and such a division in the producer community, where some producers feel that sampling, in spite of its rich history and kind of inextricable link to hip-hop culture, is a lesser form of production?
I think it deals with these people just being uneducated. If you informed yourself and learned about everything, you would understand. But a lot of these people are like armchair headline reader jockeys. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are not practitioners. If you're a practitioner, you would understand how everything goes and how it works. You're a practitioner. You are getting shit placed. You know what I'm saying? The problem is it's so easy now, and it's a double-edged sword. It's a beautiful thing that everybody can make music, but it's also anybody who has a laptop and clicks a couple things in and makes a beat, now they're a producer. You're not a producer. You're a beat maker. Until you're actually producing and learning how to like hone a song and get the most out of the artist and get the most out of the hook and, really produce a record, there's a difference. Just because you click something in, back in the 70s and 80s, you'd have just got programming credit. There was people programming the drum machines on Thriller and shit like that. Straight up, they got programming credit. You didn't get producing credit. Quincy was producing that arrangement. Once you understand all that, but you got a lot of armchair headline readers that like just want to pass judgment on shit. And honestly, they're bored and they're disappointed in their own careers. You know what I'm saying? This is what a lot of it comes from. I had to realize how people treat me most of the time, if I didn't create that, is just a reflection of themselves. So when somebody comes and they're spewing all this negativity, they're just living in that negative world. They're not happy with something going on in their life. They're mad that you got a placement. They didn't. And well, I played all my keys, even if their beat fucking sucks. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, but I did it all myself and I'm no. There's levels to this shit. So people are just not educated, And like I said, me not wanting to sample just came from me not wanting to deal with, I've studied shit. You know what I'm saying? I understand when they put out the Steely Dan sample for the Lord Tariq and Peter Gunn's record, Uptown. I saw how they took 99%. Now, I also understand they took 99 or 100% of that publishing, Steely Dan did, because they put out the record and didn't pre-clear it. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? But what does fucking, RCA and ASAP and them do? They put on my records without clearing it. And now when they go to Fifth Dimension to clear my sample, they can't fucking clear this shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, they want so much money. Yeah, they want a bunch of money because y'all put that shit out 7 years ago and didn't pay them. They're putting it on me. You chose this sample. Da-da-da. No, y'all put this shit out and let it fly. And I know they told another producer, I'm not going to out them. They told another producer, the A&R said, we're just going to put this shit out and let it fly. We're not going to clear these samples. All right, that worked out for the artist. You know what I'm saying? But it's like there's so much stuff going behind the scenes. And it's like I even saw Everyday Struggle, fucking Academics and whoever else was on there, all of them paying me. They were like, oh, no, you're not going to get this. But I'm like, they're uninformed. They're not informed. They're reading a piece of my tweet and not even understanding the backstory of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? If somebody says you are going to get paid, you should get paid. Everybody should be for that because everybody wants money that has been promised to them for a service that's been done. It's like everybody believing Donald Trump is like going to fight for the everyday man, but he don't even pay his contractors. What are y'all really paying attention to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around that. And that is unfortunate about. And I still haven't watched Everyday Struggle because I just don't even want to put myself in that zone.
Don't do it to yourself, man. But it almost made me feel more vindicated. They don't know, they don't understand. I don't know how far any of them have been in the actual business, but as far to me, they're just like they have been given a platform to where the other producers we were talking about, like just the armchair hustlers and just reading a little bit of the headline and giving their full opinion based off that. I don't speak on what I don't know, and I think a lot of people should focus on that. Worry about yourself, you know.
Yeah, the internet seems kind of like the forum for people speaking on what they don't know. But let's switch gears. Let's talk more about 5 Points Bakery. So that's a group that you formed. You do everything from create music as a collective to create music specifically to be sampled with the clearance guaranteed. You give that material to other producers. You had some success with that. What are some of the records that have come out of you delivering your 5 Point Bakery samples to other producers?
About after like 2 years after I started producing, I linked back up with a homie of mine who I'd managed before, Walt Live. He was part of a production duo called Kids with Machine Guns. They did like Hold Up for Player Circles. It was like the first 2 Chainz song. And God in the Building for Killer Mike. They did that with No ID. But so I managed them for a while, so I was around all of that. And then he ended up coming back around, and I got it with Go Ricky Go, the guitar player I work with. And so we just formed, and we just started working. And honestly, we just got in every day for like 15 hours, 5, 6 days a week, just figuring out what we wanted to do. You know, figuring out our sound, figuring out how to put it together. Because I used to think all I need is live musicians on my tracks, and shit's gonna be amazing. And they're like, holy shit, I gotta pick a piece to chop, and then I gotta figure out where to put it in the arrangement. And you realize, whoa, there's so much more shit behind working with live instruments. You know what I'm saying? Literally, I'm not gonna bullshit you. Just 2 weeks ago, do I feel like I've perfected and found the sound that we started 7 years ago on. You know, just 2 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago. So it takes time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, have the humility to understand you have a lot more to learn. You know, I feel like people should be on this quest for knowledge. I'm always a student of the game. I'm always learning, whether it be from somebody older about what to do or what not to do, or somebody younger about what to do or what not to do. You know, I always got my eyes open. So about 4 years ago, 3, 4 years ago, these guys named Mac and a couple other guys from this crew called One Mind came by, and we were working on a yoga album. It was like right when I had signed Pierre. He was over there working with me, and we were working on this yoga album. I got into yoga heavy. I was like, yo, let's just do a fucking yoga album. I want to make some music to fucking do yoga to. And they came through, and I gave them some of the music because they were like, yo, we want to sample this shit. And I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. And he sent me back some beats that were hard as fuck. And I was like, we just need to be making samples, you know? So from right then, nobody else was doing samples. We started doing samples and sending them out to producers, you know? So, probably about 2, 3 years later, they land the record One Mind does, the Unforgettable record for French Montana. And that shit goes crazy, you know? So we're still working with them. We did a record with Young Ma with them called Walk. It's got like, almost 20 million views. It's doing real well. We've done some more shit with Ugly God. We did Fuck Ugly God and Bitch. We did the music for those. We've been doing like some sample replays here and there, not too much, because I don't like doing interpolations too much. I mean, we'll do it, you know what I'm saying? It's fine, but it just gets a little murky, you know what I'm saying? So we try to always make it an original composition. But yeah, the samples have been going crazy. We work with a lot of like people's favorite producers, a lot of my favorite producers. And it's fun. It's a fun way to collaborate because now, with the internet and just the way people work, everybody works different and everybody works at their own pace. Some people like being in a room with a lot of energy. I like that. I need that. I need to have people around and feed off and see people's head nodding or see people asleep or see, you know what I'm saying? I need to feel that energy to go. Some people just like to be alone in a room by themselves and just fucking bang out. So you could just send them 20 samples. And they're not like loops, like if you go on Looper, man, and it's just like an 8-bar loop or a 16-bar loop and it's just one piece. It's fine if you use those, you know what I'm saying? It's another tool. But we create just these compositions that you would just listen to on your own, We got a couple sample packs coming out with License Lounge and License Lounge. And they it's just people just want to listen to this shit. You know what I'm saying? They just want to listen to it because it's its own little thing. But it's a fun new way, man. And honestly, it's just like this bold new world of music is being delivered in more ways than ever. Music is more prevalent than ever. Music is making almost as much money as ever, but the money isn't coming down to the people that make the music all the time. It's the people at the labels that are getting these $500 million payments from Spotify, not paying the artists, I saw an article the other day. such and such, one of the top three got paid $500 million, and they're like, when are you gonna share that money with the artist? And they're like, well, when we divest from Spotify, we will. Why would the bank robber take their hand out of the bank if they're legally allowed to be invested in the bank? They're not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to find out ways to protect ourselves and inform ourselves. That's why I always say, get a lawyer, get a good lawyer, but also inform yourself. Understand what these terms mean. Look over the contract before you send it to the lawyer. Make sure y'all are on the up and up. I just realized, even though I have a bomb lawyer, I have my best interest at heart. Nobody can have more of a best interest than me. So it's like people need to empower themselves with knowledge and not just think just because you're cold, the world is A, going to shine their light on you, and B, all your shit is going to be taken care of, because it's not that at all. You're going to get taken for a ride, and you're going to have a really bad experience. It's like if you listen to people like us and don't sit there and think you can judge and be like, oh, well, you fucking da-da-da-da-da. That ain't helping you learn anything. You pass in judgment. We got two ears and one mouth. Shut the fuck up and listen. Somebody told me that. I'll even tell you told me that when I was on the road with Bubba Sparks. I was tour DJing. I just used to be like in agreement, like, oh yeah, 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 and I wouldn't even know the fuck he was talking about. But just because you want to feel like you're a part of something, you don't want to feel stupid. I was always afraid to be like, oh, I didn't know, so I just be like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And he just told me, he was like, shut the fuck up if you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, wow, that's a little harsh, bro. But I was like, it cut me so deep. I was like, I always, from now on, I'd never feel stupid. And I always say, what does that mean? Even if it's something I'm supposed to know and I'm in a conversation and I know they're going to think I'm stupid if I ask them, like, what is that? Tell me. I want to be informed. I would rather not be actually stupid than appear stupid.
You mentioned the name Pierre a second ago, and I learned something new about you on our iStandard live stream. So you signed Pierre Bourne. Some would even say you discovered Pierre Bourne. I believe, if my memory serves me, you met him first at SAE. How did that happen?
Yeah, I met him at an iStandard event. I do a lot of events with them, as probably you do, judging competition, beat competitions, and this just happened to be an event they were holding at SAE where you just go in and listen to 3 beats from producers and just kind of give them some advice. And I've done it, a bunch of times, and I think that's the thing that people don't understand about people in our position. We're always looking for people. And I'm always specifically looking for people with talent and the people that are good people. You know what I'm saying? Because my whole thing is I want to make good music with good people. So he played me some shit. He had sampled Street Fighter. And I was like, man, that shit's so hard. I love video games, and I'd sample video games and, been down the whole path myself. But it was just his spin on it was unique to me. And, my one bit of advice was like, learn how to make your own music. I told him don't sample at the time, but that was just my way of cutting through to him and being like, learn how to make your own music. If you love this, learn how to play something that feels like a video game. Find synths that feel like a video game. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, so I invited him back to the studio. We worked on some music, and I was like, the kid's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? He's still got some ways to go, but I was like, I hadn't signed any producers up until that point. It had just been like a collective of musicians that I've been working with. And every time we get a placement, we just split it evenly, And so I signed him and we worked, we got in and worked for like a year. He did some stuff on the Yoga album with us. We did a bunch of stuff for placements and shit. But honestly, it was at a time musically to where artists just weren't open to different kinds of music. Now I feel like artists want to hear future shit. Not the rapper, but just future sounding shit. They want to hear space sounds and shit. I think at that time, like BMF was hot. So it was just like if it didn't have the fake horn, that shawty red, you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't want to hear it. So it was like we were just way ahead of the game. But we just did a bunch of shit. I got him some engineering gigs at the studio we were in. And then he went on and, got those placements on his own. You know what I'm saying? And like really went out and hustled and fucking got it, But it was a really cool experience. You know what I'm saying? I'm really proud for him. Some people do say I discovered him. I feel like I just gave him an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I would ever want if I was in that situation. Just somebody to extend their hand and be like, I'll fuck with you. Let me help you get some more shine.
You posted something about joining BeatStars. Are you going to start selling beats online again?
Yeah. We just launched 2 all-new beat catalogs. We launched with BeatStars and License Lounge. I spoke with both of them independently. And to the beauty of their just who they are as people, they weren't catty and they weren't like, no, be exclusive or da-da-da. Both of them were like, get as much money as you can. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to see the shit do good because works better for them. You know what I'm saying? It's like the world is moving out of this ownership phase. Even with Pierre, I didn't crazy tax him or do anything wild to let him out of the contract. You know, I just told him, give me what I feel like I deserve for my time, and you're good. You know, I told him our terms were a little bit more different than what we both thought they were because neither of us really looked at the contract when it happened because it didn't bother me, whatever, at the time. I didn't look at it. You know, I'm like, we're just working. And so when we look back, it wasn't as favorable to him as I would have liked. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and hold some shit over your head because I don't own you. You are your own person. You went out and got it your own. You know, I'm not going to be that guy. I don't own you. So I think the world is just moving out of this ownership phase. You know, that's why when that guy from the license company presented me with the he owns the publishing, I'm like, nah, you know, you can't use a third party's money to sign me under a publishing deal for one song. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the world that we're living in. So they allowed me to do catalogs. So I have completely separate different catalogs that I'm updating. Like License Lounge, I'm doing a new beat today, and BeatStars, I'm doing like weekly. I got a couple new joints going up. And then we're also doing sample packs, original sample packs. That'll probably be out next week. All Organic Everything is the first one, so be on the lookout for that. But man, it's just fun, dog. I'm enjoying working with people and companies who are just working on this new model of not trying to own people and have them under this thumb. You know, a lot of people don't know Timberland was signed to Blackground for like 10 years. You know, like I don't want to say he was getting taken for a ride, but a lot of people would have complained about that contract. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people would have said, wow, this is completely not favorable to the producer. And he fucking worked through it and made it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I think those type of situations are becoming fewer and fewer. I'm even finding out about companies as opposed to doing publishing, straight up publishing. There's companies out there who are paying you advances on your future royalties, but not on owning full co-pub and shit like that, you know? So it's like people are finding different ways to make music because we're coming into this generation of where all these people who did music or wanted to do music are coming of age and they're owning these tech companies and they have these big opportunities. And what do they want to do? Help the musicians and the artists and make it easier for us, you know, to where people on the majors are just trying to hold their money and do all this. I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of them, they're just trying to hold shit and own shit and, you know, give a little vote to work for hire. And it's like, look at where that negative energy gives you. You know, I totally believe in karma and energy. And, you know, as soon as they had him sign that paperwork, that record was going up, up, up. As soon as he signed that shit, you know what I'm saying? That shit was done with, dog. You know, it's like, and I hate that for him, Vo, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's when you poison good, pure music with negative fucking energy by trying to be like holding on to every little scrap you can take. It comes back to bite you in the ass, you know? So I think more people are just going to be on this good business, good relationships. And not, you know, I realize I had a lot of fake relationships with a lot of A&Rs. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these people aren't your friends. A lot of these people aren't your homies. Even artists, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff is just on a timetable. Like I just did a new song with Gucci, and this is the first time in like fucking 10 years we worked together, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just timing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this shit is just timing. And a lot of times you are only meant to be with somebody for just that specific amount of time and create some magic, get what you can, and then move on. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything isn't meant to last forever. Me and my squad, the guys I got with me now, that is forever. You know what I'm saying? That is fam, that's team. People need to discern the difference between that. You know, I think a lot of people will look at networking as going to an event, buying drinks, trying to like kiss ass and shit like that. That's not really networking. You know what I'm saying? You need to find like minds. Maybe networking is working with other producers. You know what I'm saying? Maybe networking is going online and finding an artist who you like their music. And you're like, send them some beats and they send you a song that catches your ear. Yo, let's build. You know what I'm saying? It's like there are so many ways to do stuff. And I just want to open people's minds to be like, you know, in the 90s, we all grew up. I think a lot of us grew up in the 90s or at the tail end of it to where we saw the labels giving out all this money. And you see, you know, Timberland getting 150,000 or whoever getting all this and albums going diamond. And that's not the case anymore. And a lot of people were signing away the rights to their masters and shit like that behind that money, you know? So it's like now I feel like we're on a more of an even keel and get into more of just an honest place. So I just want to help continue that.
Well, I appreciate all of that. And to conclude, how do people get a hold of you? How do they find your beats? How do they find your sample packs?
Yeah, thanks for reaching out, man. We got some jams on the way, too. The 5 Points Bakery, the FIVE Points, POINTS Bakery, the 5pointsbakery.com. You click the latest, and we got all our latest stuff. You can check our discography, services, and shit like that on there. And then, catch us on BeatStars and License Lounge. Just search my name. We got full catalogs up there. YouTube, / 5 Points, FIVEPOINTS MG, like 5 Points Music Group. 5 Points MG on YouTube. We put up a bunch of like live footage of us just jamming, Like I feel like that's something people need to see too. When people in the studio with us, they're like, wow, like we didn't know this is how, because we spent a long time learning how to make our music sound like live samples. Now I see live instrumentation coming in hip hop and stuff. We're already way past that. We might flip, we might all plug in together. I'll be on bass, Ricky on guitar, Walt playing keys, or Walt on sax, Ricky on bass, and whatever else. But we'll play all together and then take that and flip it, and then maybe flip it again and then base it around that and then build music onto it. You know what I'm saying? So when people see his work, they're like, damn, this is so interesting and different. So I'm like, let's just share that with the world. There are no secrets. I can do what I can do because I've done trial and error, and I've just studied the game. I've studied Nile Rodgers and Trevor Horn and fucking Pharrell and Chad and whoever else. You know what I'm saying? I understand how this stuff works, so I can use pieces of their tools. So I just want to share that knowledge, and just teach kids there's 1,001 ways to do shit,
Much continued success. We'll have to do a part 2 soon.
Absolutely. I know I probably went long with that one.